Each year, the SPJ Board of Directors and the Freedom of Information Committee recognize individuals and groups for making important contributions in the area of open government by honoring them with the Sunshine Award. The first of our 3 recipients is Seth Rosenfeld. In 2012, Rosenfeld published Subversives, the FBI's War on Student Radicals. Subversives revealed the FBI's covert operations at the University of California during the Cold War through the Bureau's involvement with 3 iconic figures who clashed at Berkeley in the 60s: Governor Ronald Reagan, UC President Clark Kerr, and student leader Mario Savio. Rosenfeld waged a remarkable fight using the Freedom of Information Act that has resulted in a series of court opinions bolstering public access to federal records, compelled the FBI to release more than 300,000 pages of documents and to pay his pro bono attorney's fees totaling more than $1 million. And it culminated in the publication of his book. As a recent article in the American Journalism Review reported, Rosenfeld has pursued the project throughout his career with unusual tenacity and results. He has done this independently and in addition to his regular duties as a staff reporter for nearly 25 years for the San Francisco Chronicle, which he left in 2009 to work full-time on his Freedom of Information Act cases and his book. Seth Rosenfeld is here to accept the award.
Thank you very much. This is a tremendous honor, and I'm very humbled to receive this award from S.P.J., which, for as long as I've ever dreamed of being a journalist, has represented the highest standards and calling of our profession. I began the research that culminated in Subversives when I was a student journalist at UC Berkeley in 1981. The editor of the campus newspaper had obtained some FBI records under the FOIA and asked me to take a look at them and see if there was a story. Well, I jumped at the chance. I researched the records and wrote a couple stories for the paper. But I realized that there was more going on, so I submitted a greatly expanded FOIA request seeking any and all records concerning the University of California and more than 100 different individuals and organizations. I figured I'd get the records in about a year, write up the story, and go on to the next project. I had no idea I was embarking on what would become a 31-year legal odyssey in which I would bring 5 lawsuits under the FOIA. The FBI would spend more than $1 million fighting those lawsuits. 7 federal judges would order the FBI to release more than 300,000 pages of records and order the FBI to pay my pro bono attorney's fees as well. Nor did I have any idea that those records would reveal that the FBI had been deeply involved with the University of California at every level and had informants among students, professors, administrators, and even the Board of Regents. As one of the judges in the case has ruled, the record showed that the FBI had tried to stifle the First Amendment rights of Mario Savio by neutralizing him, his ability to engage in First Amendment activities. The FBI had also tried to get the president of the University of California, Clark Kerr, who ironically was Mario Savio's nemesis in the campus protests, had tried to get Kerr fired from his job at as UC president because FBI officials believed he'd been too soft on campus protesters. The records also showed that Ronald Reagan was much more active as an FBI informer in Hollywood and had named many fellow actors and actresses, sometimes on the thinnest of evidence, and that in exchange for that, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI did personal and political favors for Reagan over the years, not only helping him keep track of student protesters at the University of California by funneling him secret intelligence reports, but also by keeping track of his own wayward children, Maureen and Michael. So I think Subversives is ultimately a cautionary tale about the dangers of excessive secrecy and power. But it's also an example of what a reporter with the support from friends and colleagues and, yes, pro bono lawyers, can do with the Freedom of Information Act to get at the truth. And as you know, no presidential administration has fully embraced the FOIA. President Johnson threatened to veto it in 1966 and signed it only reluctantly. And President Ford did veto the amendments to it in 1974, which Congress then passed over his veto. And since then, the FOIA's fortunes have waxed and waned with different presidential administrations. I was very hopeful when President Obama took office because as one of his first acts, he issued a statement strongly supporting the FOIA. But in my own experience, and I believe the experience of many other people, his administration has not lived up to that promise, particularly the Justice Department and the FBI, which continue to delay, discourage, and deny access to public records. This is of a particular concern at a time when our country is facing threats from abroad and has once again turned to intelligence agencies to protect it and invested them with great secrecy and great power. And as the revelations from Manning and Snowden and WikiLeaks show, there are some troubling evidence that once again that power is being abused. So I think it's more important than ever that we support the FOIA. I'd like to thank S.P.J. for doing that. S.P.J. has been there from the very beginning, from before the passage of the act, fighting for it. And I'm very grateful for that. It's helped our society be more democratic and also helped us do our jobs. And I'd like to thank you all for this great award. Thank you so much.